This is your live lesson from Digital DJ Tips. I can't believe we're into December already on that countdown to Christmas. We've been chatting to you guys and girls in the community this week about a question that comes up over and over again in the school, which is what separates good DJs from great DJs? What are the things that make someone truly great? What are the things that gets people booked again? What are the things that gets people leaving a venue, leaving a gig, saying that DJ really rocked it? And you'll be really surprised when I share these with you. We've spent the time to go through over 500 responses. We've got 6. So I've kind of figured out 6 big areas that you guys and girls talk about that we agree with. We actually talk about them all in our book, Rock the Dance Floor, which you can get for free by heading to digitaldjtips.com, clicking the join button. I'll give you a PDF of this and it's free to join our community too. So all good there. But I'm going to give you some advice on how to achieve these 6 things as well. I can't do 6 with one hand, I'm afraid. So like I say, it's been good fun and we've thoroughly enjoyed going through it. So for everyone who did answer that over in the community this week, thank you very much. Let's do it then. What separates good DJs from great DJs? We are live, which means I can see your comments. So please do share your thoughts on this. Number 1, this came up over and over again, is read the room, not your playlist. So this is something that DJ XXX from Canada explained well. He said, a good DJ's ability to quickly understand what the crowd in front of them need at any moment throughout the night is key. Moving a dance floor is not only about the music, but also about the emotional state that you create. Chris said you can show up with a whole set list in mind, and that's just not the vibe sometimes. The ability to adapt and to feed off your crowd is a big deal. And this is all very true. The truth is that reading a crowd is not some kind of mystical thing. Anyone can do it. People say, oh, how do I learn to read a crowd? And generally the people saying that have never DJed in front of a crowd. You learn it from experience. Now there are rules and everyone kind of figures out their own way of figuring, of doing this. One of the rules that I think is really worth remembering is something Carl Cox said once, which is when you're DJing early on, whoever's on the dance floor, they're the people you're DJing to, because they're the ones that will get other people dancing, right? You've got to keep them there. It's like trying to get a fire lit by blowing very gently on the tiny little bit in the middle that's started to burn, right? But when you have got a full dance floor, now you're playing to the people around the edge. Now you're playing to the people who haven't been on the dance floor yet, because the idea is to give everyone a chance, right? So that's a good way of approaching it. And also just looking for patterns, looking for when the energy drops and adjusting. As you know, one of the stories that we tell here at Digital DJ Tips is my colleague Steve taught his wife to DJ. She wanted to play some 80s music at a party and she did really well. And she was playing this music, but over an hour or so, the dance floor just got thinner and thinner and thinner until there was no one left dancing. And she was crestfallen. She's like, what happened? And he's like, what did you do? What did you play? And she showed him the playlist. He's like, it was all bangers. And she'd literally tired everyone out. They were having too much of a good time. They couldn't keep it up. They couldn't dance to everything they wanted to dance to. And in the end, they one by one disappeared. The idea then is to handle this and to watch when the energy drops and then change tack and keep people on side. So reading the room, not your playlist, is the biggest thing that separates great DJs and good DJs from you guys and girls who talked about this over in the community this week. The next one is saying something with your music. Now I've paraphrased it into that, saying something with your music. Here's what this means, and I'm sure as I share these quotes, you will see what we mean by this. So this kind of line appeared again and again. A good DJ plays the tunes you want to hear. A great DJ plays the tunes you didn't know you wanted to hear. This is from Clive, Johnny, Pete, Wayne, Robert and Alan. At least a dozen others repeated some variation on that. Richard described this. He said, a great DJ can make you dance to stuff you've never heard before, but the vibe is so tight that they can't help yourselves and nor can you. I really like that. Every DJ approaches this one slightly differently. Some DJs will play crowd pleasers at the beginning of their set to get everyone on side, and then they'll move on to the more challenging stuff. Other DJs will mix kind of those educating tracks. You know, we always talk about a difference between entertainment and educating. They'll mix them with the entertainment tracks, if you like. It all depends on your dance floor. If you're playing to a wedding, then you better not play tracks that they don't know, because that's not what it's about. If you're playing an underground club, fill it with chart bangers at your peril, right? So there's a balance there as well. Other DJs will use, this is one of my favorites, using remixes or mashups of tracks, because you can then play either a style people like, but the actual track you're playing is the track you wanted to play, but it's a remix in the style that would work for that night. Or flipping that round, if you're playing in a certain style and you've got a remix of a track which they know, but it's a remix in that style, then you can get away with it. It's why tracks are released with remixes and so on. But nowadays you can do your own mashups. You can do your own versions of them, either live or ahead of time. So this is all ways of getting music that you want to play into a set without alienating the people who are listening. But the thing to remember here is that just playing education music alongside entertainment music is not enough if your whole set is random. You've got to have a flow. To play a set that's bigger than the sum of its parts, if you like, to say something with your music, you need a beginning, middle and end. So a couple of tips for that. Imagine that I handed you a microphone. Imagine, have I got a microphone here? Not sure where our microphone's gone. I was going to pick one up and do it then. Imagine I handed you a microphone and said, right, I want you to tell that crowd over there to get away from the exits. It's dangerous. There's too many people there. A big event. And you went, oh, yeah, can you get away from the exits? Of course you wouldn't. You say, excuse me, everyone's attention. You'd turn the music down a bit. You'd do that until you got their attention. And when you got their attention, you'd move on to the message. And when you saw they'd done the thing you wanted them to do, and only then, you'd stop telling them the message. You'd thank everyone, you'd reassure them everything was all right, you'd put the mic down. Beginning, middle, end. It's the same in a DJ set. A great DJ will not move from the beginning until it's time to move to the middle. They'll have an eye on the audience. They'll know whether they've got them on side. They'll know whether it's time to move on to what they want you to do next. And when it comes to the end, it's exactly the same. They'll know when the audience is now through with what the DJ wanted to do, what they wanted to say, what they wanted to deliver. They'll know when to wrap it up. And they'll know when to, when you're listening to music, you know when a song's about to end because the song gives you signals. DJs give signals. So all of this stuff, and then planning the peaks and troughs within a set to avoid what Steve's wife did. All of this stuff is what separates great DJs from good DJs and what allows you to say something with your music. More than just playing the individual records. So thank you to everyone who talked about that. By the way, we are able to chat to you guys and girls. So if you've got something you want to say, I've got the comments open down here. So we will get round to you, but I want to just keep the training coming thick and fast for now, just while we've got your attention early on, and then we'll go to your comments later on because I want to get through the other ones that you guys and girls have already shared. So all of these, what separates good DJs and great DJs, all of these ideas and all of these lessons came from our community, which is fantastic. So the next one, I love this one. It's so true. Leave your ego at the door. Simon, not having an ego. Kevin, a good DJ still carries an ego. A great DJ does not. Mickey said, a great DJ will adjust to any room they're in and create a fun environment for who is there rather than just playing what they want to hear. Take yourself out of your ego for the greater good of others. That's what makes you great. So for me, and the way we teach here at Digital DJ Tips, and indeed the way we conduct our business, is the idea is about abundance, because there is enough of everything out there for everyone. And if you've got a zero-sum mentality about creativity, you're not going to survive very long in this game. So being a nice person, being a generous person, we're going to get onto that in a minute, will not make you a great DJ. But I'll tell you that the great DJs I've met, and I've met an awful lot of them, are to a person humble, open, generous, kind people, and their egos are at the door. I only have to think of James Hype. I only have to think of Jazzy Jeff. I only have to think of Laidback Luke. These are generous people. These people share. You go check them out on socials, you go and see what they're sharing of themselves. It's more than just their music. So leaving your ego at the door is really important. The next one is help others. I love this, by the way, and of course I would, when you hear it. Help others, help yourself. Steve said, I'll let Steve reveal what this one's all about. Steve said, a great DJ is a good DJ who's willing to help others and share their knowledge. And Krina said, the good DJs have so much room to grow. The great ones help the good ones to grow. I love that. One of the great things about being a teacher and working at a school is that we, and I can tell you this from experience, invariably learn as much as the people we teach. I spend maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours every single day when I arrive at work, just going through the inbox of comments, of people asking for help, of feedback on our lessons, on our videos, in our courses. And I look forward to that as much as anything in the day. I don't want that bit to end sometimes because I get absorbed in what I'm learning. People are pushing me to stuff I didn't know about. And as I help people, as I go and check things. I learn new things myself in answering other people's questions and so on. And it's the same in, I think, any area of life, which is why I bring your attention to that. It is not a zero-sum game. Working with the idea of abundance is something that you should do. So I just think that teaching is something that will always come back for you. So don't hold back. Don't hide your track names. Don't tell people it's really hard and not show them how it's done. Ultimately, you'll get more back from helping others and being generous. Now, the next one tends to divide DJs into the younger and the older, right? I'm not going to make any assumptions here because I know what I was like when I was 18. It's being professional. So this is from Mikey. A good DJ will do your gig. A great DJ will be so good that you'll have him or her back again. Professionalism has got nothing to do with DJ skills, and this is a real advantage for those people that know what being professional is all about. Being professional is turning up on time, on your own, without an entourage, sober, dressed appropriately, looking people in the eye, remembering their names, being friendly, listening to what's asked of you, doing what's asked of you without fuss, thinking things through and staying calm when things go wrong, and being a friend not only to the people who book you, but the people you're playing for. If you can do all those things and you can internalize them, so that's just the way you are. If you can hide your nerves, and nerves can come across as arrogance because you're really scared about your set going wrong and all this, so you don't want to talk to anyone. If you can hide that, if you can continue to be the professional person that you would like to be, if the nerves weren't there, when they are there, this is all the things that separates great DJs from good DJs. And these are the things that get you booked again. The truth is, you don't get booked again because you play a brilliant, amazing set that just blew the roof off. Why? Because you probably won't. And most DJs don't. It's a job. You've got to be good enough. And if you're good enough, which most DJs are, most of us aren't, it's like professional tennis players, right? Not all of us can go and win Wimbledon. But there's a lot of professional tennis players out there who do a very good living being on the tennis circuit, right? They're like the superstar DJs. You don't have to be the best superstar DJ to make a good job out of that. But there's also a lot of people who very much enjoy playing tennis just for the fun of it and can go and win local tournaments and can have a lot of fun wherever they are. That's you and me. We're the DJs who are good enough at it to get where we want to be and to get success on our terms, right? So you don't have to be the best in the world, but here's the thing. You're not going to ever be the best in the world. So stop trying to be. Instead, try and do all the other things that added up make you the kind of DJ that people like and want to book again. And professionalism really is one of them, which is why we left that to the end. We've got one more. This is the one that I like the best, I think, because it's just that it's when the penny drops on this one with people, it just changes the way they DJ forever. And the reason I think I like it the best is it's all about this kind of stuff. It's all about digital gear. It's all about when you've got software and you've got every single tune that you've ever made with you. When you've got every tune you've ever made with you, as I have here, then it can be, or ever bought with you, then it can be extremely tempting to not do what I'm about to say. So what separates great DJs from good DJs? Prepare like mad and then improvise. So this is what Jason said. Great DJs can play off the fly and change the energy by reading the room and not playing a pre-planned set that gets played no matter what the crowd reaction is. But here's the thing. To be the kind of DJ that appears to be like what Jason says there, playing off the fly, reading the room and all that, is not about just turning up with your whole collection and playing. No one can do that. So this is what I think is the key to that. Preparing for a DJ gig is like revising for an exam. You're never going to need everything you revise in order to pass an exam, because what comes up on the exam paper is only going to be a subset of what you revised. But it's a silly student indeed that doesn't revise the whole subject. That's what preparing for a DJ set is all about. That's what gives you this ability to just look like the tracks are flying out of your box and everything's cool, because you've prepared. Now, preparing means packing a great set. Yes, you've got all your music with you. And no, you don't have to do this, but you should. And the way you pack a great set is by picking about twice the amount of music that you think you're going to play. If you're going to play for an hour, maybe 40 songs. And if you're going to play for 2 hours, maybe 80, 90 songs, right? So you think about every one of those records. You think about who's going to be there. If they're not there, who else might be there? Or if they're there, but other people are there as well, how old are they? What are they into? If the set you're planning doesn't work, what have you got that you can pivot into instead? Have you got a good mix of vocals and instrumentals, old and new, stuff they know, stuff they don't know, stuff that you want to play, stuff that you know they want to hear, stuff that you've been asked for, stuff that you think they would ask for if they had a better knowledge of music like you have? I could go on. But the point is, you've thought about it and you've packed a set which is covering nearly all eventualities, but that means that when you get there, you're not completely clueless. You're not playing out of a folder with 5,000 songs in. You're not spending all your time staring at a screen thinking, I've got no idea what to play next. Or you're not thinking, I hadn't thought that maybe this crowd would turn up instead of this crowd. I've got no idea what to play. Do your research. James Hype says, I love this. James Hype says, pre-read the crowd. And this means find out as much as you can about the people you're going to be playing for. Reading the crowd is one thing, but pre-reading the crowd is genius. So find out who you're going to be playing for. It's back to professionalism, isn't it? It's one thing that definitely separates good DJs from great DJs. And look, I've known this since the 80s because carrying around more vinyl than you need to play is difficult. So we'd take one box we wanted to play out of and one box of just in case tunes. Really, that's all you're doing by packing twice the amount of music that you need. You're packing the music you want to play and your box of just-in-case tunes, and it'll come to about double the amount you play. I'm going to sum this up because you've done a good job of highlighting all of these for me, so thank you, everyone. We will get to your live comments in a minute. But I'm going to sum this up. Great DJs serve the room, share what they know, stay humble, show up professionally, prepare thoroughly, and never stop learning. Great DJs serve the room, share what they know, stay humble, show up professionally, prepare thoroughly, and never stop learning. They're the 6 things. And you know what? There wasn't any mention of technical stuff there at all, was there? Technical stuff, what you do with all of this, that is just the entry fee. The real work begins when you realize that it's not all about you. Okay, that's what we've got for you today. What separates good DJs from great DJs. What I want to do now is spend a little bit of time with you talking through this stuff. So I'm going to hope that I can get the comments to come up because I couldn't a second ago, which would be horrible. Ah, there they are. They've changed the interface just to confuse me. Right, okay, so what have we got? I know you'll be asking questions about this. I want to get to them as quickly as possible. But as ever, I just want to name check a couple of our regulars. Hello to Kevin. Hello to Crystal Lily and Ralph and Mike and Easy DJ. Hello to Zombers Official, to Jack in Florida, to Mike Edwards, to Mixmaster G in the Netherlands. Hello to Jonathan as well, to DJ Flex, who says, you're getting right to the core of DJing here, Phil. Well, it's not me, it's our wonderful audience that are doing this. Hello to Mr. Girth and to Benny from Florida. Hello, Benny over there in Florida, one of our best students. So Crystal Lily says, I play a variety of stuff because my musical tastes are very diverse. You make a good point here because if you really are not into a really wide choice of music, then maybe you shouldn't be playing gigs where that's what's expected of you, right? And so we always describe it as a Venn diagram. In fact, I've probably got the Venn diagram in the book. If I can find it quickly enough, I'll show it to you. But if not, I'll just describe it to you. So imagine a Venn diagram with 3 circles, right? One of those circles is what the person who booked you wants you to play. The second circle is what the audience wants to hear. And the third circle is what you want to play, right? Imagine those 3 circles. Now, the thing here is, if they don't overlap, then you've got a problem. I can't find it. So if they don't overlap, then you've got a problem. Because if they don't overlap, if what you've been booked to play is not what you want to play, then you're in trouble. If what you've been booked to play is not what the audience wants to hear, then you're in trouble as well. So there's a disconnect either between the promoter or the person booking. This often happens at weddings, by the way, when the mum and dad of one of the couple books you and pays you, but the people there don't want to hear what they expect you to play and so on. So this is all about preparation and facing off these things before they happen. But you need that nice place in the middle where what you like, what the audience wants, and what the person paying you expects all overlap. When you've got that, you're good. But if your tastes are so narrow that that's never going to happen, you shouldn't be playing the gigs, right? So I love the fact you brought that up. Thank you for that. So on to the point of playing tunes that you didn't expect to hear and getting away with it. The Ruckus says that's so true. A DJ that surprises me always gets my vote. I went to see a techno DJ years ago called Dave Angel. I don't know what happened to him. And Dave Angel played a set. I didn't know a single song, and it was one of the best sets I'd ever heard until that point in my life. I was in my early 20s. I always remembered, how did he do that? He did. That's a good DJ for you. Or it's a great DJ for you. So this is from, oh, I love this. This is from our friend Nürburgring Biker. He says, play ski lift DJ sets over the winter. Nobody can get away from you until you arrive at the top of the mountain. I love this. This is really good. So we were talking about peaks and troughs, about varying the energy, and a couple of you agreeing with that. Kinetic Stringwell says, yes, working the crowd with peaks and troughs is important as well. When we lift each other, we all rise. And I guess that goes for ski lifts as well. Thank you for Sia for that. As a mobile DJ, you have to handle both music and have conversations with the guests about their requests, says Michael. That's very true. Dealing with requests is something that didn't come up on this, but it's one of those things that DJs have to learn how to do. So great DJs play explicit bluegrass exclusively, says Michael. I can see the tongue firmly in your cheek, Michael, as you say that. Make sure you've got your output levels correct so that your sound is crisp and clean. Yes, this is what we talked about. No one mentioned technical stuff. That's the entry fee. If you can't do that nowadays, you shouldn't be doing it. But one thing we say to DJs, and this is something we say to a lot of our students here at the school who've never played a gig, and they're like, oh, I want to learn to DJ. I've bought some equipment. You know, maybe they spent thousands and thousands on gear. And they're like, you know, I want to learn to mix. I want to learn to use stems. I want to learn to use all the effects on my mixer. And I want to learn how to make live mashups and make my own tunes. And then and then the list goes on. And then in the end, I want to play a gig. And I'm like, dude, you need to play about 12 songs, if it's a 45-minute DJ set, one after the other, with no gaps, and keep the volume of each song roughly the same. And that's a DJ set. And they're like, what? Like, dude, you're overthinking this. And the reason I teach people this is that you can get so hung up on the technical stuff, but that's not what DJing is about at all. DJing is about the connection with the people and the things we've been talking about today. And you've just said it. Make sure you've got the volume right and the sound right. This is something that is basic and it's nothing to do with mixing. But if you do that, it's down to the professionalism stuff we were talking about before. You'd be amazed, and I'm sure you know how many DJs don't do that. They haven't got a clue what they're doing with their levels. They haven't got a clue about keeping everything balanced. It's not hard to learn this stuff. It's on about page 40 of that book, but you'll be amazed. So yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so hiding the names of your tracks is crazy. This is back to talking about being generous. That's how it started back in the day in New York. Cats used to cover the labels. It brought them up to a month of others not knowing the names of tracks. It brought them up to a month of others not knowing the names of tracks. So they stood out, yes, but it's not a long-term thing. It's a transactional thing because you'll lose relationships long-term that way, in my view. I'm not saying I'm right, but we work with a culture of abundance here. So Sanjeev says, great DJs don't criticize other DJs who, well, I can insert anything here. Use the sync button, don't use vinyl, don't DJ like this, do use this software, don't use that software, use that controller instead of that unit, use that brand instead of that brand. Who cares? I agree with you completely. Hello, Antonis over there in Cyprus. Just a quick hello back to you there. Great DJs tap into what the crowd was getting down to when they were young. Indeed, Tim. We talked about that on a live stream very recently. I love planning playlists, but jumping in and out where appropriate. That's fun. Agreed. So this is another way of getting to that mix of planning and improvisation, isn't it? People, I need to leave it there. There's so many good comments coming in as well that I haven't been able to cover. They're all in YouTube and Facebook comments. Please do keep talking to each other, and my team will get to you if you've got any questions about this, as we always do. If you want to learn what's really important about DJing, we bounce it down to 5 things in the book. And the 5 things we bounce it down to in the book are so important to us that they're literally on page 4. And those things are gear, music, mixing, performing, and success. This is our 5 steps for great DJing like a pro. It's in this book, and you can have a copy of this book by coming to digitaldjtips.com and clicking the pink join button that's in that colour at the top right of the site. I'll give you this for joining. It's free to join. We'd love to have you as the latest member of our community. Come and have a read, come and have a dig around, come and join in on our socials. If nothing else, just to add your comments underneath the video version of this if you're watching the replay, which of course most of you do. Meanwhile though, from me, Phil, here in the studio, I will be back next week, same time, same place. We're getting near the end of the year, but we have got 1 or 2 more of these before we call it a day for 2025. So I'll see you then. But meanwhile, get good, get out there, make the moments. And until then, bye-bye.